effects of the OFMC meeting, the Federal Reserve did not cut rates. They cut just like Katie Hobbs. But anyway, what do you think? Are we selling in May or are we staying? Because I'm right now it's looking like we're staying, man. Especially now that Bitcoin's pumping.
I mean, we got some good news. We got supposedly some trade deals tomorrow. You have Arizona and what's the other state? New Hampshire?
New Hampshire was first.
Yeah.
Arizona was second, and to Texas, I believe they have a final reading, and this priority from they wanted to be first, so they're probably going to get that signed as soon as it gets to the governor's office. It's ready to get to the governor's office. The final reading, they're going to get that there. So I think that they're going to get that done by end of next week, if not by the end of this week.
So what Arizona just did was Katie Hobbs, that see you next Tuesday.
Governor.
She she basically vetoed what was the strategic reserve bill. Okay.
And she didn't want to basically play with retirement funds from the state. But the bill that she did pass, the second bill that came to her desk, was only to take what's held in the state, well, seize crypto. Let's be honest, seize crypto.
Right. I mean, it's against the Fourth Amendment, unlawful searches and
reserve.
seizures. Like, why did they have this even to begin with? If you were committing a crime and this was your property, wouldn't it be returned to you when you completed your sentence? If you were like, let's say, for example, you commit a crime and they have your ledger with you, and they seize your ledger. Do they have access to the funds that are in there? Like,
He lost it in a boating accident.
right?
Along boating accident.
Along with guns in the same boat.
Certain states already passed laws that they cannot ask you for your seed phrase, unless they have a subpoena. But even then, I think that's a little bit weird.
Why would you give that up? Even if listen, it's not even a matter of principle of what you had. It's a matter of principle. It's not what you had in it. It's your property. If we are going to treat this space, we're not going to treat it as anything else like digital little numbers in the air. This is property, and if it's property, the Fourth Amendment has to be more specific. So I don't like personally that bill, because at the end of the day, you're gonna, and I don't know if you've noticed that little fine print at the bottom. What they're gonna do is, with all the funds that they have seized, it also gives them the ability then to stake it and then use the staking rewards to get airdrops and to then supposedly reinvest into the fund. I find that to be odd.
Actually, when they created it, she signed it. Actually included airdrops and seize crypto, and those were the things that included as well.
Look at the new one that was tweeted about. It says that same thing in the fine print. So it's like,
yeah,
is this what we're doing? So the government is going to be airdrop farming now with seized crypto?
Hey, listen, man, they do that. They do this regardless. They do that. Also, by the way, another thing I forgot is also unclaimed crypto. Rhode Island's doing something similar. So unclaimed crypto is seized. It's seized, unclaimed, and airdrops is what they're going to put in the reserve. They just can't buy anymore.
Which, again, this is not what the maxis want, right? First of all, I don't even think the maxis would want any of this at this point. I think the maxis would
actually they don't, because you mean the Bitcoin maxis, right? To be specific, you mean the Bitcoin maxis?
Yeah. I mean, is there any other type of maxi out there?
Oh no, I'm saying this because, like, to clarify, because you're saying is that what the maxis? Hey, Carly, it's not what the maxis want, because it's like a stockpile, right? I like to say that there's a strategic reserve that you can basically add into, and then a stockpile is something that's just there, right? And it's any cryptocurrency that's going to be in that stockpile.
Right,
so it's not a fund.
It's a fund versus, like, what you just already have that you're not going to add any more to. But then they are. The point is, I don't understand how you veto one and sign the other. I think they're in tandem, one and the same. Because if you're going to create this fund, wouldn't you want to fund the fund? And in order to do that, the only best way to do that, I guess, is with, I don't know.
You know, you're gonna have to ask Katie Hobbs. I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
She said that
listen,
she was
I
okay
don't
with.
want to talk to
She
that
was saying she
woman.
was okay with. She was okay with taking the C stuff. Basically, let's call it what it is, bro. She stole from the
It's
citizens. She's okay with taking
stolen.
the stolen stuff. Yeah, and put it in the strategic reserve. Right. That's what
It's
it
like the
is.
government. It's like the government taking, like a Mercedes from like a drug deal and like selling it and being like, oh, but we're gonna keep the profit. And then what are you gonna do with that? It's not gonna go into like a fund for the taxpayer. And that's the problem. Like, if they're gonna treat this like, oh, well, we're just helping out the taxpayer. No, you're not, because you seize this from the taxpayer, and none of this fund is gonna be used for taxpayer purposes. I mean, they'll frame it like it will, oh, we're gonna do this for this road fund, or for potholes or whatever. At the end of the
We
day,
know what it really is
we
for.
know what it is.
We definitely know. By the way, our TradFi friend is going off because he wasn't happy about the fact that New Hampshire passed it 2 days ago, and I told him that they have 60 days to allocate 5% of the state funds into crypto, and now Arizona is doing it, and Texas is doing it, and Texas will buy as well. He is not, you know who I'm talking about, and he
Yeah,
is not happy.
yeah.
He's actually going off me right now. He's but yeah, we're not gonna say any names, right? He's my friend. I think you guys are cool too. But listen, with everything that's happened, with everything that's
I
happening,
don't
we have
understand how
these
you could be
three
so
states.
young and so against this. That's that without using names. Anybody who's young, like, wouldn't you? Here's the thing, and maybe this is more of a socioeconomic thing, and maybe getting to the weeds here, but the promise, and this is not just for people that were born in this country, because it's about immigrants too that are coming to this country, or just global around the world. But I feel like my generation, especially when I came out of college, I was thrusted into an
Our
economic
generation,
crisis.
our
Yeah,
generation, we're about the same age.
right. I was thrusted into. We were thrusted into this economic collapse in 2008, 2009. I'm like already dating myself, but we didn't have a shock coming out. We incurred debt, and that's the vision. That's really the genesis behind a lot of my libertarian thoughts and laissez-faire, free market thoughts on supporting this stuff. But I don't understand how somebody who's young, what's actually interesting, and this is actually a good point. At that event that we had, I was speaking to a gentleman who
Which we
was,
got trashed at, by the way.
what's up?
I was still recovering today. That was
Oh
48
yeah,
hours
yeah, yeah.
ago. It was a big.
You were just handing me mezcal, and I was just drinking it, man. I don't know. It's
Fuck
it's
it.
it's
Cinco
it's
de
a
crypto. Fuck it,
yeah,
right?
man. It's a good Cinco de Mayo tradition now. Cinco de Crypto. I think we should make it with the Bitcoin flag and just hold our own little event every year. But I was speaking to one of the gentlemen there, and they're like, "Oh, well, there's some kids that come that are more affluent. They come from affluent places who don't give a darn about any of this. They just want to make the money."
Kind of like my friend. My friend is like that. His father's a very wealthy property developer
For sure.
in Ohio. He has an investment fund, traditional finance himself. Right, they runs himself. That has over $100 million. He's traditional finance, so
Right.
maybe he sees it as a threat.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, you hit it right on the head. Um, it has to be that, because at this point and at this juncture, like, it's so crazy because somebody retweeted. I think somebody made a token off a picture that I took in 2015. Go on my X page. It's the Bitcoin Bible book. I posted this 10 years ago. Somebody made it a
Oh, that
crypto.
was you.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that online, and I was like, I was like, who made this? And I didn't know it was you.
Well, I made the token. I only Somebody found the picture, made a token off the picture. I have no idea.
Yeah, I saw that. It got like lots of views. I didn't know
I
what a
mean,
small
the
world.
thing
That's
was a
huge. A
pump
lot
and
of
dump.
people.
It pumped and dump, whatever. I mean, I wasn't a part of it. I had nothing to do with it. Maybe I should say something about, in case anybody did. I don't think anybody that I know invested any into it. But you know, I posted that 10 years ago, right? And like, we could talk about how things were 10 years ago, because I probably actually want to write a post about, like, because I did write down some thoughts then that I still have, especially like with the tweets and everything. I'm gonna try to see if I can like archive that back. But I would have never have thought in 10 years we'd be here. Like, you couldn't even have dreamed, like states are passing laws,
Dude, state governments.
BlackRock, like the president
Listen, even last
speaking.
year, last
Huh?
year, last year you couldn't have
Exactly,
last
exactly.
year.
So, like, for me, it was a hope, and it's been a hope since then. I mean, we're here talking about it now. But for somebody who's young, Like, how do you not see this as a way of the future, unless it is, though you said, a threat? And I think that that's what the FUD comes from. And I think we're going to experience that a little bit more. We're going to see people who are our age who will talk about this and are not going to be as enthusiastic because they are getting paid or working in these industries that are so traditional. I have a friend who works for Morgan Stanley who's looking to get into this space. He's inching to get away because he sees it dying already.
It's
And I think,
obvious, man. It's
yeah.
obvious.
I mean,
I mean,
if
what can
not
you do?
dying, if not dying, it's going to definitely be merged with. Like, I think the predictions, right? Everybody makes these predictions, but like, you could make any prediction right now because it might just happen. But you're going to see a good portion of all these investment firms that are in traditional finance, because you are seeing it, like the Fidelities, the Black Rocks, name it. They're going to position their business more in the crypto space because that's where the yield is. And if the yield is there and they're going to make money and they're going to manage funds and they're going to take their management fees, they're going to take it where the money is. The best performing asset of the past, well, now 12 years has been Bitcoin over everything. Now, if that's
Definitely.
is that trajectory going to hold? We shall see, because a lot of the FUD is going to come in, because part of the euphoric feeling that people are having is also the stagnation of, like, dude, all this really good news, why are we still under 100K? Like, everybody's predicting 250, and like,
Yeah, and that's what I want to ask you, just to keep the conversation going. And don't worry, I'm letting you talk as much as
I
possible because
appreciate it.
I consider you the
I
expert.
mean,
But
I'm just joking.
I want to see the conversation. Dude, let's be honest. Okay, I want to see the conversation in the direction of, okay, all you're saying is don't sell in May, stay, right? So
You're
FOMC
gay
reading came
because
out negative today. Okay,
um,
why are we pumping right now? And are we going to continue? Are we going to hit all new time highs the next 2 3 weeks? You
I
think
think we're
for
pumping
Bitcoin?
today specifically because I think Trump is going to announce a tariff trade deal tomorrow. FOMC today, they didn't raise interest rates. We talked about that. Um,
They
what
cut
they,
us, yeah.
what
Sorry.
Jay Powell tied a lot of his commentary towards today that I read, because I didn't want. I usually watch FOMC. I'm just like, if you're not going to raise or cut, I don't want to hear what you're saying. It still is interesting.
Oh, bro, listen, dude, Joe Blow, chill, bro. Why is it that every time that you're live, this guy comes on here and talks shit?
Gay guy channel, dude. Your name is
Yeah, it's the
Blow.
same dude from last time that you were when you were here. But whatever, man. Listen, to continue,
You
man.
got
Freaking
Kanye's
ignore
cousin
him.
and Kanye's
As you were
cousin in the chat.
as you were saying,
um, Jay Powell basically was sort of dovish, basically throwing it on because inflation's coming down. It's already on its way down. Like they admitted it, but what he said was that they worry about the inflation is going to come from tariffs, and if Trump starts bringing these trade deals through, like suppose this major one tomorrow, I think it's going to be India. If it is India,
hell the
and
fuck yeah.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do the accent because I mean, I'm
What? You're
pretty.
not gonna do this thing? You're not gonna do this?
I have it. I have it. Is going to be good. I mean, if they're not going to do a war, right? And this is if they're going to fight about the border and they're going to actually do a trade deal, we get a lot from India. I mean, a lot of metal and whatever. If there's a good trade deal and it's a template for something else, then you're going to start seeing maybe a cascading domino effect of this positively. I think by the end of May, if you sell, you were pretty gay, like Joe Blow.
Joe Blow, let's go. Nah, so yeah, anyway, I agree with you because I think that the states doing this. I think this is game theory, right? The name of the Bitcoin conference is game theory. The event we had in Rhode Island a month ago is game theory.
Sweet.
It's when you're going to see all these state governments. And look, we have a city. We have Roswell, Mexico, by the way. You knew that, right? We talked about that at the event.
Nah.
Roswell, Mexico. Roswell, New
Wait,
Mexico became the
Area
first city.
51?
Yes, they became the first city. Ironic, huh? They became the first
Yeah.
city in the U.S. to establish a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Which I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know cities could do that.
What
But
if?
apparently they
All right,
can.
now I'm gonna deviate the chat. What if Bitcoin came from aliens? That was the
It's
technology that they gave
possible.
us.
It's
Well, now you have
possible.
Michael. Well, all right. Now I'm gonna transition to a different kind of topic, but
Anything you
same
want,
thing.
bro. Because game theory, anything you want to talk about, where people are buying Bitcoin, you go ahead.
Well, this is it. Speaking of which, Saylor had the conference. He had a Bitcoin conference, right? And one of the things he says that, and this is things that people know about. that the AI is going to start buying Bitcoin.
Fuck
And
yeah.
you think about that like, what? That sounds like some futuristic shit, but it's not when you think about if you create a program or a system, an app, let's say,
Like your
and
app. You can show it now.
yes, right? Which I just got another signal for Sui. Sui's coming in. Sui's gonna be hot. I got another signal right now. Literally
Sui's
just
on your
in.
app?
Oh, I only do the most liquid tokens specifically on Bybit. So there's like the top 15 or 20. So Kaido is a new one. I mean, we'll talk offline about it because I still want to keep it a little mysterious. Um, but all these tokens are
Joe
coming
Blow, he's talking
through.
about you, bro. He doesn't want because you're cucking us, so he doesn't want you to know about it. But go ahead,
Yeah, no, it's
Joe
because
Blow.
he's on the chat that I'm not speaking about it. If he got off, then whatever. So if the AI starts buying Bitcoin, because if it's an incentive to the program or to its own protocol, right, to do maybe trade, maybe it'll trade the AI will trade for Bitcoin because it knows how efficient, how worthwhile it is to hold it. Then we're talking about some element that we had no, like it wasn't on anybody's bingo card, which it isn't. But when that comes into fruition and you start seeing AI protocols that their systems are designed to store Bitcoin for security purposes, I think that's going to introduce that new wrinkle of like, forget about these strategic funds now. Like that can just wait because it's government. You have the AI buying, that's going to push price up to those 250 levels. So, because the other
How is
thing
the
is,
AI gonna buy it though? How are they gonna buy it? They don't have any fiat, right?
if there was a fund, right? So, like, let's say, for example, like there's high frequency trading, right? Part of what I'm doing with Virtuoso is that to introduce that element of AI into the trading so that if you do fund an account, let's say, it's incentive because everybody who trades crypto understands that the incentive is not to hold the shitcoin, it's to trade the shitcoin for Bitcoin.
At
And
the end of the day, yeah, you make money off of shit coins and you buy Bitcoin.
right. So if the AI can do that, so it'll probably start off with like a trading AI, a high frequency trading algorithm. Maybe some hedge fund will build it. Maybe somebody like me can build it, right? And that's kind of like the theory to then use that as the basis for the fund to trade and get more of. So when the prices go down, it sells. When the prices, when the price is high, it'll sell and it'll buy back at the bottom. We're living in a different time where like humans can't even replicate the type of knowledge that the AI has. So the best traders are going to be AI traders.
Of course.
And I think that that's a new wrinkle that if it does come to fruition, which I think in the next few months we're going to start seeing it, then we're going to have that push to 250 because you need liquid. Who's besides Michael Saylor? Who's buying at these prices?
You said the next few months we're gonna hit to 250. Is that
I
what you
think by
just
the end of
said?
the year. I think end of year is 250 for sure.
Okay, what's gonna happen by the end of sell in May and go away usually means
Yeah.
sell in May and come back in July or something, or come back in September.
Well,
So
we had. I
should
think.
be
Here's what my prediction is. I think you're going to have something similar to what we had DeFi summer in 2019 or 2020,
okay, which is explain.
which is a super cycle of alts. I don't know. I can't tell you. Oh, it might be an AI bundle of AI tokens. It might be. I don't think memes. I think it's going to be something more functional. If I had to say what would replicate the DeFi, because DeFi summer was you had like Link and a bunch of these other tokens that ran up like 3,000% because of a lot of factors, but mainly because Bitcoin was up. People sold some Bitcoin, bought these shit coins, and they went up. You had helicopter money from the government, but you had a macroeconomic picture in which there was quantitative easing by the Fed, which means that they were basically printing money. So if the Fed is printing
Okay.
money, if China's printing money now because they're going to devalue their yuan, where do you think people are going to park their assets, man?
Yeah, but the thing is that China right now you can't legally buy or sell, but I'm sure they have ways around it.
Come
So you agree with
on.
Arthur Hayes' thesis? Arthur Hayes said that once we hit 110K Bitcoin, we're gonna have altcoin season. You believe in that?
Yeah, because all ships rise together. The thing is that at that point of the Bitcoin cycle, there is liquidity up there, but there's also a lot of people that are putting pressure down on the price because they're selling. if you're smart, that's not a necessarily bad thing because Bitcoin can be sold off, but then that flow is going to go into the alt market. And if that's the case, then people are going to buy all this bullshit again. You're going to start seeing it on your timeline again, all this crazy nonsense. And then Bitcoin's going to go down a bit, but alts are going to rise because you have sort of like a decoupling. But it's not decoupling, it's beta. You have the base asset and you have something that's outperforming it but following it along.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with you
So
100%. It's just that like everybody's been so negative the past few months. And I want to say something too, like, so 2021 we had a different picture because we had quantitative easing due to COVID. Uh
right,
but in 2017 we still pumped, regardless of the fact that the first half of the year
right.
they actually didn't they actually the FOMC, the Federal Reserve, excuse me, actually in the first half raised rates 3 times, but
I
we
know
still
that. Yeah,
pumped that year at the second half of the
yeah,
year.
yeah.
So can you like elaborate more and compare this more to the 2017 cycle rather than 2021?
2017. I think you had some of the same. Trump was in office a year. There was a lot of like economic stuff that they were trying to push. And you still had him battling with Jay Powell. Like I think history just rhymes. It doesn't repeat itself exactly. It just rhymes. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So, and you had the conditions for all that. Like he was still doing tariffs back in 2017. Like like this stuff was still on the table. Like we haven't like necessarily. I mean, after COVID and Biden, it just seems like a black hole of time. But we just like almost like enveloped it on top of like we're back in the same place that we started. Higher prices for sure. But if the quantitative easing does happen and the money printer starts going, brrr, people are going to park their assets in Bitcoin. It's logical. Look at the price of gold right now. Like you have gold at an all time high, and the reason for that is because a lot of it's FUD in the market about recession worries and but you only need one big trade deal that Trump can do. The market's gonna rebound, and then everything is gonna be according to plan because ultimately everybody's just parking and waiting to see what's up with these tariffs. He introduced this wrinkle that honestly I don't think he should have done. I think he should have gotten some tax cuts and then maybe done the tariffs. Either way, if it does
In all
happen,
fairness, he
yeah.
does, he only has 4 years this time around, right? And he has
Oh,
midterms next
wow.
year, so he can wait too
Wow.
long.
Trump 2028 is still a thing.
Maybe, maybe not. But as the way the laws are written now, right? You can interpret him a certain way. But I'm just saying that he only has 4 years,
Oh,
and
he
next
two
year's a
because the
midterm election
midterm.
year.
Yeah, two because
Yeah,
of the midterm.
exactly. So why not do it now? If you got to do this shit now, let it
Yeah,
crash
but you
now, and
could you
then
could do
have
it.
the golden era next month.
You could do the tax deal now. You could do cut capital uh, uh the capital taxes.
Capital gains
The
taxes,
capital gains. There you go. You cut some of those. Like I think it's at 37. Like make it like
dude. It's way too fucking high, bro.
the thing
It's
is
way too
that
fucking high.
I mean, and I saw some news that they were thinking about or flirting with the idea of not taxing any capital gains at all.
At the federal level, right? Let's clarify.
Right.
At the federal
Right.
level, the
Right.
state's gonna fuck us anyway.
Well, the
Certain states,
states though, the
rather.
states have no authority though. None of the tax people in your state have guns. At the end of the day, only the
I mean, you
IRS
can
has
just leave.
guns.
You can go to Florida or Texas. Literally, right now, I think that I was watching a YouTube video. As long as you make less than 120K in capital gains, and you live in that's the only thing that you make money off of. You have no salary, and you're in Texas and Florida. You don't pay any capital gains taxes at all. That's what I heard, at least.
I mean, it's no state income
Over a year.
tax, right?
Over a year. If
Well,
you
I
hold,
think
sorry.
the big one for a while was Puerto Rico, and a lot of people were starting to go out of Puerto Rico because of the tax incentives.
Brock Pierce and all them
Right,
are they're in
right.
Puerto Rico.
EOS and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah. The deal is though that it's a good microcosm for what could work nationally because innovation is going to go where it's cheapest, whether it's the cheapest energy, cheapest taxes. That's why you have Dubai going crazy, Singapore going
Oh,
nuts.
Dubai's the world capital right now by
Right.
a long shot.
The financial capital of the world is now in Dubai. Like, who wants to do business in Europe? You need that bit license. That was ridiculous.
I mean,
They
well, it's a good thing too, because look at Ripple. Ripple had to because of it. It has bad, goods, and positives and negatives. The positive thing is that it's such a strict bit license that for Ripple that has millions of dollars, billions of dollars to go through that to pass their RLUSD is a good thing. But for like Sui is not allowed in New
right,
York State. New York
right.
State residents cannot buy Sui. You know that, right?
Right. No, a
legally.
lot of it. I mean, it's blocked off from Coinbase. I mean, Coinbase was blocked off for a while in New York State. Like, it's the ridiculousness of the fact that you have politicians, and this is going back to this because this is the biggest problem with this space right now is United States government politicians. Realistically, because nobody else really matters, dude. How many times has China banned and unbanned? The same thing with Russia, Pakistan. Now Pakistan has CZ as their
India, same thing with
ambassador
India.
now.
They're huge,
India,
but nobody cares because they can't buy it. Like they per person per capita, they don't have the means to buy
of
crypto like we can in
course,
the U.S.
but it doesn't stunt the fact that, or it does stunt the fact that there isn't any innovation. That they all still rely on the United States, talent for people, and it's just not a good environment yet. I think this administration and some states like a Texas, like a Florida, potentially like a New Hampshire now. Like, could that be like a new state that could allow some innovation if they're doing this crypto fund?
Hey man, if you've been to New Hampshire, bro,
I
it's a dope state
have.
to live. It's a
It,
great state to live.
it
I don't
is.
think. I mean, I don't think that
Live
it's
free
like
or
you're
die,
gonna have a bunch of
baby.
you're gonna have a lot of 20-year-old kids moving out there unless they're like married and have kids. But okay, so FOMC, to go back to FOMC, that's the main thing that people are talking about. The M2 money supply is increasing, right? So the US, we have to do it. We have the most money, period. Do you think that we're going to be cutting rates in the next in June and or July, or do you think we have to?
What's stopping a lot of the economic gains right now is the interest rates. They'll cut it. I don't think they'll cut it in the summer. I don't. I think they're going to be late on it. I think Jay Powell's going to be late on it. That's why Trump is up his ass. They'll cut it like September.
There's no meeting in September, right? I think August is the last meeting, right? And there's one
I don't
like
even think they have a
November,
meeting in
December.
August. I think they meet again in September. I don't think they meet in August.
Okay, so do you think we're likely in September? Is that what you're
September
saying?
historically, when it's start of or end of Q3, beginning of Q4, like I think that's when you'll see the biggest portion of gains across the board. And I think those
Okay.
once you hear that news that the rates are cut, then it signals that we're in like this plateau, right? Where we raise rates, they stop raising, they cut, but they haven't cut yet. So like or more back to where it should be until they start doing that successively at meetings, like one FOMAC and then another FOMAC. I just don't see how everything's not gonna be stunted. It's just gonna stay until because they need that news. BlackRock needs the news. All these investment banks, hedge funds, they need the news to be like, all right, game on. And they
By the
don't.
way, James Feechin, just want to let you know, bro, or Feehan, so apologies that we do that. But what part of our organizations that we're not going to mention on here do is we flood the fuck out of emails for state politicians and federal level politicians to basically pass legislation. Go ahead, continue, man. Sorry, I don't want to mean to interrupt you. Just want to let them know that we do that.
Oh, chemotherapy. I don't know what the hell that means.
What?
I don't know, man. I'm not. Again, I'm not. I'm speaking out of my ass. I don't. I'm not like how. What is this guy? Murray, that was on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm not experienced. I've never been. I've never been to these places. I've never been to an academic university in the higher echelons. I'm just a person who's just reading the news like everybody else. But we're not stupid anymore, and we can see what's actually happening, and we read the Arthur Hayeses and really smart people who have good analysis. When you put it all together, we're heading to those places where the conditions going to be there. But quite frankly, until Jay Powell gets his shit together, we're going to be stunted by him.
Definitely. So that being said, your final analysis, we're gonna get going because it's late.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you have
man.
to get back to your family, and we both got to pass out because we got a lot of work to do in the morning. Thirsty Thursdays,
Thirsty
work
Thursday.
during
The
the day,
Dominican
and
weekend
then
starts
tomorrow night I have
today,
to go out
though.
again.
The Dominican weekend
Today's
starts
what?
today. Que lo que, loco? It's Wednesday
Okay, yeah,
night.
definitely. No, for sure. No,
So,
but anyway,
yeah.
what are your last words with regards to the analysis? Okay, so FOMC, you think they're going to cut in September? You think that we might have DeFi summer? I just want to add the fact
AI
that like
summer.
nowadays
AI
we
summer.
talked about this on Monday night. That nowadays we don't have what we used to have. We have algorithmic trading, which is 24/7. You don't
Right.
need to have the people that have to work there. So you think that these are going to affect it as well this summer, specifically the high school students, college students? trying
I
to
mean,
make some money. They can't find a job because McDonald's robots.
I think people doing what I'm doing. You're building your own platform using AI. Like I think, I, if you're smart, you're going to not sell in May because, or you can't sell at all. I mean, take profits, of course. You know, like I tell people, like, oh man, I made all this money, man. I'm like, all right, bro, like use a portion of it for your real life. Like, don't be a cuck holding a bag of the rest of your life. Like, use it. Like I've done that in my life. But ultimately, this summer is going to be pivotal to the fact if we're going to really have that super cycle. If if by August, because I don't anticipate August being it's never a good month to trade, but
Never.
if May, June, July are good, and I I'm anticipating maybe by then, if I think we've bottomed on Bitcoin, but I don't think we're going to hit past all time highs. I think we're going to chop here for a little bit. September rate cut, and I think you see all time highs, maybe 250 by the end of the year.
Okay, so John Feehan, last thing, retail about to get rug pulled in September. Do you believe that? Do you agree with that?
I mean, they've been getting rug pulled. What? Who's retail at this point? There's nobody left that's retail. They're all dead and rug pulled. Like, no, I think the rug pull was for BlackRock to rug pull. That they're the biggest rug pullers. Like, retail's not even here anymore. Where's retail? I mean, Coinbase is gonna have a Bitcoin commercial. Like, I saw that the other day. Like, bro, people already know about this stuff already. I don't think retail biggest inflow. No, the biggest inflow to Bitcoin specifically right now is Michael Saylor just degenning, buying every freaking
Every
week.
Monday.
Yeah,
Every Monday. And listen, we do have a supply shot coming because there's no way that they're buying more Bitcoin than we can produce every week, the miners, and somehow the price is still under 100K. By any metric, it should be over like 300,000 easily. But there's something they're not telling us. Like
I
somebody's gonna
I,
flip the switch or something pretty soon.
I think the story's gonna come out maybe, but once the conditions are ripe, man, and like I still hold out hope. I think this is gonna be a great year, but I think next year is gonna be absolutely insane. I think we just
That
have to
means we're
get
gonna
through
probably go ahead.
what?
No, you're gonna say we're gonna have to get through what?
We just have to get through the summer. I'm leaving in August, bro. I'm gonna go to Spain and Portugal. So
Wait, you
peace.
telling me this right now? Can you tell me something? You want to talk to me about this offline?
Yeah. Well, I'm not
All
gonna
right,
live
cool.
there. I'm going for vacation, bro.
Oh,
I'm gonna stay
all
out there
right,
for like
because yeah, we thought because yeah, I was like, it's
staying out
like,
there for about. I'm staying out there for about a month. I gotta get out of this place.
hopefully you can stay out there for 6 months, and I'll talk to you
Yo,
offline. I
I'm
gotta
working
get
on
going,
it.
brother.
All right,
Oh,
brother.
good night, John, James.
Good night,
And by the way,
James.
James, thanks for
Stay
participating,
hating.
brother.
Stay hating.
All
Peace.
right, upwards and onwards, man.